There are multiple types of apexes in the game. However, it is very opinionated on which one is actually the best. The aim is to get a generalization, but not a definitive answer to what the best apex is in the game purely from a statistics standpoint. Additionally, I will be including para within this discussion amongst apexes for reasons that I will explain once para is discussed. Obviously, discussion on which apex is the best is opinionated because certain players are better at different dinosaurs. You may have a Koa player who, mechanically, may have a lower skill level than an Acro player, but due to the Koa's statistical advantages, you may say Koa is the better apex. But that is exactly the question I want to answer. Is it really? Well, in a vacuum, absolutely it is. Koa has a base health pool of 1600 HP, which completely outclasses Acro's by a gap of 550. Where the Acro has a slight edge is the damage department, where it sports a 225 damage per bite to the Koa's 215 per headbutt. While not a very noticeable difference, it is still a slight advantage. But then that advantage is immediately taken away. Koa has a base stomp of 375. But you would think the specialized bleeder of Beast of Bermuda would have the highest bleed damage in the game, right? Well, you would be wrong, because Koa not only outbleeds Acro, but it has the highest bleed to opponents equal in weight to itself in the entire game. Koa also has a stomp that does more injury than a Tyrannosaurus. It has a passive face shield, which when you hit it, grants it a passive damage reduction whenever you bite the Koa again. While the Acro's damage reduction on the Intim Roar may be stronger, it doesn't mean you'll necessarily do more damage overall compared to the Koa. Not only is this because Koa's bleed goes straight through Acro's Intim Roar, but also because Koa's hitbox as a dinosaur is very small, meaning its massive face shield, which does absurd amounts of bleed and damage reduction, will be constantly in your face in a one-on-one scenario with any dinosaur. So to recap, Koa has more health, better overall damage, much better bleed, and much better injury on a pound-to-pound ratio. It also has a massive damage reduction that exists at all times, while Acro has to use theirs strategically. And a Koa has a pivot and turn place, which it can use to face its target at all times. So, what do we learn from this? Koa has no weaknesses? Well, that's not very true either. Most creatures do fall victim to common predation tactics that usually involve being outnumbered, just like this poor Sai in the background of this video. But what did we learn from the comparison between Acro and Koa? Some matchups are favorable, but some are not.
No.
Now that we've seen what a favorable matchup is for Koa, let's look at what a losing matchup looks like for one of the other apex carnivores of the game, Rex. But someone could be asking me, doesn't Rex have a super strong bite? Doesn't it do very high injury? Doesn't it have a great health pool? And typically, I would respond with a straight up yes. But similar to how Acro has a hard time dealing with Koa, Rex has a hard time dealing with Saitania, and here's why. While it is true Rex has the highest health of any apex creature in the game, excluding Chrono, and that it does have the highest damage of all the carnivores, it has specific weaknesses. Sai is immune to injury. And similar to how Koa could give a flying fuck about Acro's Intim Roar, Sai could give less than a shit about Rex's injury. So, what do we gather from this? Well, because Sai is injury resistant and it has a greater health pool than Rex, it can afford to trade bites with Rex without worrying. And now a further question you might ask might be, well, can't the Rex just run away to heal the injury and return back? And my initial answer would be, yes, it could. If it can. Every apex in the game typically has a damage per second formula you can calculate, simply by dividing the creature's damage by how fast their attack is inside of 1 second. And it just so happens Sai is pretty good at dealing damage, dealing better DPS than other notable apexes such as Para, Acro, Koa, and Bronto, and only being just barely outclassed by Carcharodontosaurus. To put it simply, Sai is just very good at dealing damage, and dealing it quickly, and not only damage, but also high injury paired with it, making it extremely hard for Tyrannosaurus to take full advantage of their damage, especially when taking into account Saitania's reflection ability.
Now that we've analyzed what it's like to have a winning and losing matchup, we can now compare raw statistics and find out what dinosaur is actually the strongest when compared to others from a raw statistical standpoint.
When taking a look at the HP side of the spectrum, there are clear beneficiaries of having such a large health pool, the most notable being Sai, Bronto, and Apato, as they are slow moving and cannot choose their fights as easily as others, but a clear winner being Apato. Outside of Apato's Stomp and Bronto's Neck Swing, Koa and Rex's attacks have the highest injury dealing attacks in the game, of which are easily executable and don't require the act of holding still. Out of the Apex leaders, of which there isn't many, but out of the big three, Koa takes the cake fair and square. If you're looking for raw damage, Apatosaurus takes the trophy with a DPS of 333, closely followed by Rex's 303.5 and Karch's 232. If actual damage per bite is your thing, Rex is your winner with a bite of 425 damage, followed by Appa, and then Karch, with other contenders that tie up with each other, listing of Sai, Bronto, Koa, and Acro. If getting away is your thing, Para comes with the most stamina out of the Apexes, but Rex comes with the most speed. The Sauropods and Saitania don't take injury, but of the ones that do, Rex and Para are the most injury resistant due to their combat weight being the same. Apatosaurus has the most ability power, followed by Koa and Rex, while Para and Acro are the fastest growers. So what is there to gather from all of these strengths and weaknesses? Is there a definitive answer to what is actually the strongest apex in Beasts of Bermuda? There is, but only categorically, and it depends on how good you are. An Acro can beat a Rex can beat a Karch, a Sai can beat an Acro, while a Karch can beat a Koa. Beasts of Bermuda isn't a game where fights always result in the same outcome. There's plenty of room to learn and grow, and plenty of room to figure out what builds and dinosaurs work best for your playstyle. So is there a dinosaur that is statistically superior to the rest? Possibly. But will you kill it? There's only a matter of time.
Why the hell is he here? And why the fuck are those things here?